If I'm optimistic, I would say the exact opposite of what you're saying. The exact opposite. I would say people would realize that most of what they're using AI for, they don't need. Most of what they're being pressured into use AI for isn't even useful. That if you had one average intelligence human expert instead of what you're outsourcing to AI, you would get better outcomes. And I say this because, like I told you earlier, the United States is really the only country that cares so much about AI. We're the only country in the whole world that's investing trillions of dollars and hundreds of billions of dollars into AI, into the data centers, into putting AI agents everywhere, into inserting them in the workflow. Most people I know hate it. Most people
Hmm.
I know, even the people who work with it, they wish they didn't have to do it. They feel like they're losing their skills, they're eroding their own expertise, that junior people in the field aren't gaining the foundational skills because they're outsourcing them to AI. And other countries don't have this problem. This isn't a problem in Europe. This isn't a problem in Japan. This isn't a problem in China. This isn't a problem in Australia. This isn't a problem all over the world, just here, just in the United States. It's real easy to look at it and say, this is how we're doing it, and therefore this is how it has to be done. But I don't think that's what we're going to be saying 10 years from now. I think we're going to look back 10 years from now. You remember the big data fad where everything was big data. You remember the Internet of Things fad where everything was the Internet of Things. I think AI is that bubble today. I
Hmm.
think most of what we use AI for, we're going to look back and say, look, there are some really good uses of AI and some places where it's really indispensable, but also that's not the majority of use cases. And what we've done is we've inserted it into places where it's actually better to have just expert level humans being there. So can
Hmm.
we have humans who develop their expertise doing this instead? And I think there's going to be a push back on this. I don't know when it's going to come, but I think it's going to come sooner rather than later. And I think these things that you're talking about as inevitable today, if you look back 10 years from now, you say, geez, like, we didn't have to do it this way. And more importantly, we don't have to keep doing this way. We can go back to human experts where you have a human's good judgment at play instead of outsourcing all of this to what's literally just a word guessing machine based on large amounts of what people have said before.
And that's very interesting. I mean, I work in AI. I use AI all the time, but I agree with you. The thing that concerns me the most is the effect that it's having on the environment. And I hope that we're able to figure it out because I believe that AI is useful, at least for my job. I enjoy using it, but the harm that it's causing to our natural resources, I mean, you just can't ignore that.
I mean, you have energy. You can either say, well, look, we should be investing in developing nuclear fusion and expanding solar and wind and other renewable power sources. But instead, we're fighting a literal war right now about oil.
Mhm.
And that's just another worse outcome for the climate. We're talking about how right now, less than one third of the natural area on Earth is still wilderness. Most of it has been overrun by humans. And yet we're not talking about preservation and reforestation. We're trying to get people to not murder and nuke each other right
Mhm.
now. And so I think like one of the big questions I always would wonder if we found an alien species out there, right? Some intelligent aliens out there in the universe. I would ask them, how did you survive your technological infancy? How did you manage to get through this stage where you were growing and you were consuming and you were consuming and you were consuming? How did you get through this stage without plundering your whole planet and making it inhospitable to your own species? Because we haven't figured that out yet. If you take a colony of yeast cells and you put
Mhm.
them in a little dish full of molasses, what the yeast cells will do is they will eat the molasses and they will grow and they will divide and their population will explode. but it won't stop exploding. They'll keep consuming and consuming and consuming, and eventually there's so many of them that they're going to change the pH of their environment and poison it, and all of the yeast cells will die. They will literally successfully breed themselves into poisoning their own environment, and then they go extinct. And my big fear for humanity is that we are just as dumb as a colony of yeast cells when it comes to not poisoning our own environment. We have many, many people who think that water and power for AI is so important that they would rather give it to AIs than the humans who need it to survive, to literally survive. And I don't think our species stands a chance if that's the route we go, right? This is all done for the benefit of humanity. AI can make your life easier in a lot of ways, especially when it's used intelligently. But it can also just plunder our resources and hallucinate at the same time and tell you things that you don't even, it's not even useful or truthful to hear. So I think we have to be very careful with this, and I think we haven't been very careful so far. So I think there is a good, intelligent way to do it, and I hope we find it before it's too late.
And it seems like it is becoming, or at least we're at a point where it's becoming too late. And it's probably past a point of no return. Now we need to find a way to hit the brakes or slow it down in some way, because we are like at the edge of this cliff, and it's just the one wrong bad move and we'll just go over that cliff.